All right, let's try this. We didn't get much volume at the 64.55. No, you're right. You're right. We didn't. You know, we haven't had any real volume spikes on the 1 minute this whole way. A little bit here, but even still, that's not outlier. If you go back and look at yesterday, that is outlier volume. This is outlier volume on the 1 minute. None of this is real strong. So it's been very much a bearish day. Now the 64.55 was the option chain bounce, which was beautiful. Is this it still? Is it still green? You've got to be kidding me. There we go. We're back. I got you, Sean. I got you, buddy. All right, there you go. Welcome to the Tier 2 community, Sean. I appreciate you upgrading, buddy. Okay. I have a feeling we're going to dump today, but I didn't trust myself. That's okay. I hate bearish days like today. Days like today, you don't want to do well playing big position. You can't handle seeing red numbers. That's just not looking at profit loss, just seeing the trade off best. Yep. Well, this is phenomenally bearish. This is the exact opposite of yesterday. Exact opposite. So, I mean, at this point, this wasn't a dump. Oh, 100% it was. Aggressive. YouTube's back online, baby. Love it. All right. All right. Can you run me through the trade? I can. Yeah, let me switch over the Discord too. The Discord's acting up too, man. All right. So from here, I have a couple of different things I took. The top step, I played the long bounce on NASDAQ this morning, stopped out of that trade, closed the account, went over, opened up, and I have my TPTs open. I trade my TPTs down. I didn't touch any of this shorting. I didn't touch any of this short. When this thing came back, retested the prior pivot here of the overnight low because we blew right through it. Once we played the overnight low, I took the rest of the trade. So I took that top wick on there and then played it down. So the retest of that non-farm and then failure is where it's going to be at. And then after that, like I said, this stuff down here wasn't that great to trade because it was high volume in Wiki. This stuff was low volume all the way down. There was no volume indication to show that buyers were hitting anything. So just like yesterday, you trust the volume. The volume is the number one indication that I have to offer you. It's the number one indication that I trade sentiment on. The whole reason I was remaining aggressively bullish yesterday is because we had zero volume spike. Well, one volume spike. This one. I discussed this yesterday with Tier 2 people. This 1250 candle could have been the only place to even consider a possible scalp short. Other than that, there was no volume spike to indicate any shorting, so it was bullish all day long. Today was the same way. Once we took out the morning session low, which was right here, they just kept drilling it with zero volume. So at that point, you have to be either short biased or do nothing. Short biased or do nothing. And that's what they did. They came back up, retested, and then they dumped it back over. We had this little pivot here at 23,566, which would have been relative to the 64.55 on SPX, and they bounced it, and then they dumped that. But the 5-minute is maintaining high volume. We're not having any high volume spikes. So the retest off the non-farm payroll low, the prior SR flip, was my indication. Still going down. Could I ask another general question? If price action takes out the morning low, do you generally think this will be a bearish day? Same for the morning high bullish day. If price action takes out the morning low, do you generally think it'll be a bearish day? Well, that I wouldn't make that direct correlation. However, the probability says that depending on when you take out the morning low, it is going to be a trend down morning. Now, there's a couple of different. The reason why I say it depends on how price action does things, because if you've got the morning range, let's say I'm just going to draw an arbitrary morning range. Let's say this is the morning range, whatever. If price action comes up, puts in the morning range, and then trends higher, and then in the afternoon, we take out the low of the day. This is a very low, not probability. This is a low. This move is very rare. It happens like 2% of the time. When this happens, it's a very bearish situation. Usually that's intertwined with distribution. Usually it's going to lead to a red session the next day. If the market comes out, let's say here, if the market comes out here and just kind of ranges and then plummets, then yes, that's more of a likely bearish indication, especially when it ranges, drops, comes up and retests the short and then comes back over. That's your short entry. So that's a bearish indication as well. So the morning low and the morning high will determine at what direction your trends go. The morning range is a very helpful tool. It will help you identify the general direction of the market or the general sentiment of the market. Remember, I don't know how to access live on Discord. Just pay yesterday. Are you in the Discord server itself? If you could shoot me, because I need to know what your Discord handle is. And I need to know the email that you signed up with. And I don't want you to put that information on the YouTube stream. Just trying to understand from macro perspective. Jobs data was bad, so indicate higher probability rate cuts in the market. Don't forget about all that, Walker. Forget about all that. None of that matters. This market is just it's liquidity sweeping. That's what it does. It's going one liquidity level to the next. Like yesterday and the day before and the day before that, the market put on 1,000 points on NASDAQ. And then now they're undoing some of that. They're catching people with the late shorts, this little blow off top here that occurred after non-farm payroll, and then they dump it. So You mentioned probabilities and definitive percentage chances of things happening. Is there somewhere some website gives tested stats of these scenarios? I'm sure there is. I don't know where they are. This is just back testing for me. Do we need to look up for longs or shorts? Well, I mean, in terms of longs, I don't see a lot of high volume spikes. We do have a couple of bottom wicks here, but this is a bearish day. This is a bearish controlled day. So are we going to get a bounce? Probably at some point. But just wait for the signals, man. You know, we're coming up on the afternoon time frame. We're coming up on the shenanigans, tight stuff. You're welcome, Walker. Appreciate you, buddy. Could you share your settings on the VRVP? Setting default are ugly and the candles on the side. Yeah. Right here. So the look back is 500. The volume bars are 200. Everything else is dealer's choice. I've got my POC color to red and I've turned off the value lines. I do not like the value lines. So called it here. 64.55 Frumple. It's the SPX support, baby. We've been talking about it all morning. It's coming. What were you seeing on SPY that the price you mentioned? I'm seeing, looking on Spot Gamma. Spot Gamma shows 64.55 to 64.50 is the put leg here on the SPX. So they're going to defend the crap out of it. And they're still doing it. They just hammered the crap right off of it. I'm not taking any more trades today, though. I'm done. I'm done. If they launch this, heck yeah, baby. High volume spike with a green move. 64.70. So far, that's a 17-point bounce and still going. How's that feel but scared of a trap? Do we have any trend lines? Nice. Let's go on, baby. Euro close bounce? Yeah, buddy. Still going there. 64.45 right there. I'm looking for something. Bear with me. Healthcare and staples right now? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right. Any questions before we wrap this up here? So obviously a nice downtrend. We've had some beautiful bounces with volume in this 6450 area on SPX. NASDAQ and ES have both bounced. There's been ample opportunity for shorts, a couple of small opportunities for playing the bounce. But overall, it's been a pretty good week. Any questions? Right now, my internet is lagging. There's an 86% chance 86% chance of a 25 basis points cut on September 17th. There's a 14% chance of a 50 basis points cut. That means collectively 100% chance of a cut. It's only a matter of how big of a cut. 100% chance of a cut. So there you go. We have a very large unused barn on our property, old hog barn. It's like 60 feet by 40 feet. I think we're about to start an egg business. There's a massive demand for organic, fairly priced, locally sourced eggs in our community. And I think we're going to ramp up to a couple of thousand egg-laying chickens. Give our kids a business to run. I know you're all set on buying the dip in 3Cs currently, but you have a strategy with similar rules like 3Cs for shorting. Yeah, it's the same thing. I look for volume. I look for volume with 3Cs on the top wick or the bottom wick. But remember, this one single red candle does not faze me at all. I took a nice little short, but I didn't catch the entire move. But I am trying, if I'm going to swing short positions, which I will eventually, and I do think that day is coming, I want to catch the right side of it. I don't want to catch, because look what happened to my Facebook trade back in February. I took an aggressive Facebook put that was about 3 weeks dated out, about 4 days before it dropped, and I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars if I held that trade. But I took it 4 days too early, and it stopped me out for a loss. So a loss, if I would have held it for another 2 weeks, would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my timing is my strategy is very, very accurate. But just like all traders, and just like, being a jabroni, is that it's all about timing. It's all about timing. So for me, I would rather catch the right side of the sell-off than the left side where it's still going up. It reduces my stress, and it gives me some patience. So this one particular trade, if yes, I didn't catch most of the shorts, but that's okay. No big deal. I'm thinking Jabronia for a girl's name. Love it. It's the big short line. Being wrong and being early, the same thing. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Still going. Would be insane if they recover this. No, it wouldn't. What if there's no rate cut? I don't know. I, I think there will be a rate cut. But if there's not, then the market will experience volatility until they reprice it in. That's all it is. Would be insane, yeah. I've been thinking about getting spot cam. I'm wondering how it's been playing out for you. I love it. I've had spot gamma now for 4 years. Um, I'm not going to push a tool onto you all. I am an affiliate of spot gamma because I believe in the product. I'm not going to say it's going to make you profitable because I think that all you need to be profitable is price action and volume. I will say it helps your visibility, it helps your situational awareness. Like, for example, the 6450 bounce on SPX right here. There's a giant put leg sitting there. If you didn't otherwise see it, you might be able to catch it with spot gamma. I think in this environment where 70+% of the entire option chain activity is now centered on zero DTEs, I think spot gamma tool is becoming more and more important to monitor that kind of stuff. But I'm a big believer of it. Big believer. Trump speech today at 1600. Yeah, buddy. I'm long 560. Nice floor fish. Still going, baby. Still going. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff, dude. Beautiful stuff. Nikes. How bearish is the option chain? Let's take a look. It's holding the levels it had this morning. It's not increasing. Like, the puts dropped to a 2.5 billion puts, and they're still at 2.5 billion as it was an hour ago. So they haven't moved it. The calls they've sold off into 1.7 billion negative, and they're still holding 1.7 billion negative. So it's still bearish, and it's not adjusting. They haven't moved any of that negative delta? Nope, nothing. Look. In fact, they're slightly increasing the negativity of the calls. There you go. The green line is calls being sold. The I guess purple blue line is puts being purchased. So the further down they go, the more bearish it gets. That means the further down the green line goes, the more calls they're selling. The further down the blue line goes, the more puts they're buying. And the deeper the negative deltas get. Still going. Here we go. Still going. Beautiful defense of the put leg, baby. And that is the benefit of tracking options. Please tell me you held. I took a year dated calls on TLT when I bought around. Hey, if I'm down 50%, should I be keep holding? Yeah, buddy. Look, ES is still accumulating. 64.80. So that 64.55 pivot is fantastic. Still going. Still going. Have you ever thought about using market internals or mathematical fractals? I'm just a humble pirate, man. I'm not that smart. Here's my thinking, dude. I like simple. I like simple. I told Mrs. OM when she wanted to marry me, I said, hey, I don't like drama. I like keeping things simple. And when I apply the same theory to the market, the less is more. And to me, am I the best trader out there? No. I'm not making millions. I'm not even making multiple six figures, although I have had multiple six-figure years. I'm not doing that on a consistent basis. I am just drawing income little by little to get me to the point where I can just enjoy life a little bit. You know, I'm not killing it. I don't have a Lambo parked in the driveway. I keep things simple. Until that stops working, I'm not changing nothing. It's just watching high volume inflows, taking the small plays, taking my little piece of the pie and getting out. I'm not trying to get the whole pie. I'm trying to get a little sliver. Maybe a little cream, maybe a little sour cream. Not sour cream. That's gross. Maybe a little whipped cream on top, a little cherry. That's it. Volume, price action. That's all I need. So, volume and price action. That's all I need. Sour cream confirmed. Yeah. Am I a millionaire? My net worth is over $1 million. It's not from trading options. I'll go ahead and tell you that. It's from all of my endeavors. If you were to sell everything I own and pay off all the debts that I owe, the cash left would be over $1 million. But it's not from sitting here slinging options. It's from investing. That's from investing. Stay committed to the process. Don't let these jabronis get you chasing digits. I try not to. Every time I've tried to chase the big wins, the big wins, I get wrecked. I've had a couple of major wins. 2020 was a fantastic year. 2022 is fantastic. The beginning of this year was absolutely extraordinary. And it's paid for a lot of stuff. But every time I actually go chasing something that's outside of my comfort zone, I get wrecked. I get wrecked. The better thing for me is land. I've gotten very fortunate with land purchases over the past 15 years. Mainly the farm I'm currently sitting on I bought in 2020. I mean, it's more than doubled in value already since 2020 when I bought it. Everyone's just full port away from YOLO. Yep. I'm hoping we can get a 3C so I can make up some of this 300. Well, so far it's heading a little bit up. I've got 20 acres for my sheep, looking to expand with leases, maybe flip some of those to purchases. Nice. Heck yeah, that's one I want to pass down to my son. Nice. Where's your farm? I'm on a farm in Missouri. Hey, what's up, Damien? Welcome, buddy. My farm is in the northernmost part of Alaska. I'm just kidding. It's not in Alaska. I'm in the southeast of the Estados Unidos. That's amazing. Heck yeah, I've heard most actual profited traders don't actually stick with trading, like they moved on to other stuff, real estate. Yeah, yeah. I've got a couple of different sources of income. Real estate was one. You know, my long-term portfolio did very well in 2020. Not, and admittedly so, I had a little bit of luck in that process. I asked a good financial advisor of mine who's heavily invested, and for many years, he's twice as old as I am. He told me just to buy the S&P. He's like, I called him at the bottom of the S&P crash, the coronavirus crash, and I was like, hey, what are y'all doing with your clients? And he says, I'm just telling them to buy the SPY. That's it. I was like, you could pay me 4% to do it, or you can just go buy the S&P. So what did I do? I just reallocated all my funds into the S&P and a couple other names to have some fun with, and it did very well. And then, after that, the options did very well. I had a fantastic year 2020. What's up? What's up, Catchy? How you doing? Come back, pie and sour cream. Yeah. 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 I'm on a farm in southwest Iowa. Beautiful. Missouri. Fantastic, dude. What do you have on your farm? Goats, cows, sheeps? So far, they're still holding this nice. For the first target for me, if I'm going to go with this after the morning low, which we're about to breach, 64.97. Now, where does 64.97 put you? Obviously, it's the 50% fib, but it's also the retest of this non-farm payroll low. So that would be a beautiful place. You see this sweeping candle? It was also my short entry on the NASDAQ. But that's going to be the big liquidity target if this thing goes up. So if this holds this morning low, play up until 6,500 on the S&P, and then go from there. Because I'm not going to be here for that, so y'all have to make that decision. I'm a lead farmer. Nice. Missed the whole move teaching a CPR class. Nice. Little staying alive. 2 horses, 40 hens, 8 roosters. I want to get sheep. Nice. He's a millionaire for sure. Is that a facetious comment? What vegetables am I planting for fall? Right now, we are planting. Half our garden is going to be for our fall vegetables, and half my garden is for the chickens. I'm growing food for the chickens too. Kale, lettuce, and fall carrots and broccoli. Those are our main fall crops right now. Chickens love sprouts. Yeah, we are going to tiptoe into some microgreens, doing stuff like that. We just had 31 dozen eggs on our countertop, and we put them on Facebook to sell them. They sold within an hour. Like, people want these things like crazy. So we thought, hey, what if we scaled up to like 500 chickens? And then we met a woman who owns a bakery, and she goes through hundreds of eggs a week. And she's like, hey, I need a crap ton of eggs, and I don't want to use the store-bought. So she wants to work with us and do some sort of farm contract. Try mung beans. I heard they smell like death. To sprout? Oh. Microgreens, broccoli sprouts. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. Still going green here. No volume spike. Is that indicative that the price could potentially continue higher without much pullback? Once the initial bounce happens, yes. So you see this tremendous amount of volume come into the support layer. Bottom wick, and now it's just climbing higher. You know, we're 30 points higher. Quick question, if you don't mind. I barely started reading Anna Colling's VPA book, and I haven't come across the answer to this yet. But when it comes to PA approaching a previous resistance with little to no volume spike, is that indicative of the price could potentially continue higher? All right, I didn't read your first question. So yes, that's true. So if you're coming, let's say this is a resistance. If you're coming into a resistance and the volume does, like you got the little volume candles here. If the price action continues to climb with no volume, that's indicative of just continuation. You have to have a volume spike here if you're looking for the reversal, because that tells you you have supply here. If you have no volume, you have no supply, it's going to continue on. That's the basis of VPA trading. What is that yellow line? That's the session volume profile. So what does that tell you? That's a good catch, Math. That is the session volume profile, POC. So what does that tell you? All of the volume has now turned in supportive. Because look on Bookmap right now. The POC, when it opened, was up here at 23,900 or so. And now it dumps and sticks right here to 23,664. So the volume profile shifted down, which means the volume shifted down, which means the buyers hit the bottom. The buyers hit the bottom. Buy the dip, baby. Buy the dip. Does that make sense, Robbie? Sprouts are easy to do. That's what I've heard. Yeah, we're going to try it. What are your settings for the Lux Algo volume profile? 500 look back, 200 volume bar. Great Pyrenees. That's what we're going to get, yeah. Did you catch anyone with air tags? Not yet, unfortunately. I was going to have some fun with them. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when if it's the people that I think is taking it. If I catch them, I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do. Anywhere between capital murder to misdemeanor paintball guns. No, I'm just kidding. What are your settings? Yeah, you go. Pirate Pie. I love it. Let's see. 6484. Target practice. Heck yeah, man. I tell you what. I was shooting my 6.5 off the deck yesterday at 300 yards, and that thing is like 300 yards on a 6.5. It's like a chip shot. It's easy. There's 6.5 inches of drop at 300 yards when you're sighted in at 100. It's fantastic. So the back of my property is 450 from my house at least, and I'm going to try to take that, see what the drop is on that. That way the deer aren't safe. Paint bomb. That's where the whole town knows. Yeah. Euro close is almost over. We head down to 6,500. Nice. All right, I'm going to call it a day. Y'all have any questions? Creedmoor? Yep, Creedmoor. I have a Sequence Precision Havoc Pro with the Vortex scope, chambered in 6.5, 140 grain. Make them take a bath in green dye. I like it. Glad to be here. Nice, Damon. I'm glad for you to be here, buddy. Ask questions. The weekly brief will be posted Sunday night. That'll have all the macro levels. It'll have my theme for the week. So that'll be good stuff. We will miss you. Have a good one. You too. Thank you. Thank you. Love it, JS. Can you show the trace tool? Yeah, I can show the trace tool. How many monitors do I have? I have 3 monitors, but that's only because I have to do streaming software. If I did not have streaming software, I would probably... I have the Samsung G9 49-inch. I would use the 49-inch only. If I wouldn't even have... I just have one screen. But with the streaming software, with the book map and stuff, I have to have 3 screens. But for trading, you only need one. Trace tool. Here's the trace tool right here. You see the 6455 was fantastic. And here we are bouncing. Where can I subscribe to my membership? You can go to the website, theoptionsmillionaire.com. Here, I'll post the link in there. There you go. Pick the membership you want to be a part of. Link your Discord first, and then shoot me a DM in Discord, and the access should be automatically provided. If not, I'll get you hooked up. But welcome. Now we have a new Damien. Yeah. What nicknames to apply? How do you trade markets that go flat for days and weeks? This scenario keeps me up at night. Maybe that could be a video topic down the road. Well, markets that go flat for days and weeks, I mean, we've kind of experienced that for a little bit. Not very long, but we did. But I've been a part of that. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. Iron condors if you can get it, but liquidity is not going to be that big. But yeah. There's a couple of different ways. It's going to crawl all the way up. Still going, baby. I'm still not sure I understand the yellow line. The yellow line is the volume profile. So look at my chart, Math. Are you on YouTube? Come on, Lieutenant Colonel. Sir. I'm just a lowly captain. I'm a retired 03. All right, look at my look at my chart. So the red line on my chart right here, not the morning range. Let me mute that so I don't confuse you. This red line is the POC and the volume profile. That's the POC, which means the largest amount of volume on this particular node. If you look on the book map, it's the same thing. This yellow line is the volume profile POC, the session volume profile POC for this particular session, which means on this time frame for this book map for this session, 23,6450 is the largest amount of volume on this session. And the reason why it moved down is because the volume hit. When you have a significant amount of volume hit at the lows, the POC is going to shift lower to accommodate the spike in volume at that node. Because look at this volume profile here. Let me mute some things that need to be muted. I'm going to mute Bookmap and SpotGamma real quick. Look at this volume profile right here on YouTube. This morning, the volume was here. See the nodes? The volume was here. But when the price action dropped, all the volume shift down and created the node to accommodate the significant amount of volume that hit the lows, because the volume profile is volume at price. So when all the volume hit down here at the support, the volume profile spiked the node and it brought the POC down here, because now the highest amount of volume is now sitting at 6470. So it shifted. When the POC shift like that, that's a significant event. And that tells you what the volume is doing. It's like, holy crap, the POC shifting down. That tells you there's a crap ton of volume at the bottom. So in other words, if the pass track down to current from the top this morning, yep. V recovery, range day. I don't see a V recovery on the books here. It could, but what I'm currently seeing, I don't see it. I could be wrong. I'm not going to pay attention to the market today. I've had a long week. I've got a trip this weekend. I need to figure out a way to get some identification. But yeah. Can I see a picture of your volume profile Lux Algo settings? Yep. You want Lux Algo or KV4 coins? By the way, this is our macro level, 6455. Fan-freaking-tastic, tier 2. Should be making all the money in the world right now. Let's see. Lux Algo volume profile. Here's my setting. 500 look back, 200 row size. Everything else is whatever you want it to look like. It doesn't affect the data output. It just affects how it looks. So I personally, I use both of them. I prefer KV4 coins. It's a little bit cleaner, but they both do the exact same thing. They're both accurate. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. You can use either LuxAlgo or KV4. Is that a gamma level? Where at? Reversal level. That is a put level. So what? I'm sure it was a gamma level, a GEX level, but I identified it through the put hedging. There was a phenomenal amount of short puts sitting at 64.55, and it bounced beautifully off of it, 40 points. That right there could have made your entire day. What's up, Chris? Man, I know you're an OG. I've been AWOL, a long time subscriber, in the discussion for a couple years, but I've still been listening. Anyway, I'm back. I'm looking forward to joining the discussion again. I'm looking forward to having you back, baby. You're still are you doing any some short options? I know you're doing a lot of short options. Good to have you back, man. I love the OGs. I love the OGs. Still got the same emoji or whatever you call that avatar. Man, y'all are weird sometimes, dude. Is this one of y'all? Is Naftin Colder one of you all on my Twitter? You have some explainer to do if that's you. So I posted yesterday, stop shorting. This is financial advice. Just, fun little comment. He responded, shorts are like little girls with braids. When she's good, she's very good. But when she's bad, ... I was like, calm down there, Epstein. Calm down. Y'all are so weird. Y'all are so weird. That's definitely Dan. You're an OG since 22. Nice, Brendan. Why not use normal profiles from TradingView if you don't mind me using for the other trades? Supposedly TV doesn't have real volume, so I'm just using maybe that. I don't know. I've always used these volume profiles. They've worked out very well for me, so it's kind of one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of things. Y'all are crazy. My account on Twitter is starting to get big enough where I have a lot of spam people, which I hate it. I need to start deleting those. Have you heard of COT report from the dang CME? I have heard of that. Yeah, I don't reference it though. All right, y'all. I'm gonna call this a day. It's been a great week. And I'm ready for the weekend. So if you have any questions, please hit me up. We're about to hit a season of volatility. I've got my 6th one for Quest the other day. Yeah. We're about to hit a season of volatility. I think that we are nearing the top-ish of the market. Nearing. We have CPI coming up. We have the FOMC, which looks like it's going to be the first major cut we've had in about a year. Gun to your head, where do you end today? Prison. Someone puts a gun to my head. Just kidding. Where do we head? Let me look at the option data. I don't think we're going to get a major V recovery. I could be wrong. The option chain looks way less bearish than it did this morning, so I don't know. I don't want to give you all a bias here because I'm not going to be here to, to eat crow if I'm wrong. I'm not watching the charts. I could definitely see 6,500 touch, but I could also see lower. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Follow the 3 C's, man. Follow the 3 C's. Fridays are statistically my worst day of the week. So I usually stay away. Hero right now shows 1.2 billion sold calls. That's up from 2 billion, and 2.26 billion of purchased puts. So 11:45 Eastern, 3 C's. Possibly, yes. That is a high volume top wick. Possibly. Negative delta still moving more negative. No, the calls went aggressively the other way. So we were at one point negative 2 billion calls. Now we went to 800 million. So they bought back 1.2 billion. But now they're trending back down to negative. Puts are still kind of the same way. So it's still bearish. It's just less bearish than it was. I feel like if your name was never OM in the next life, you'd be called Kevin. I don't know. Maybe. Y'all the ones that started calling me OM, so I just kind of ran with it. I remember the first or second day in the server, people were like, "Hey OM," I was like, "What the crap is OM?" Then I realized it was short for Options Millionaire. I was like, "Oh." It's an abbreviation. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm out. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Don't get wrecked. I'll see y'all Monday. I'm out. See you.